Hello, my name is Clara Maveglia and I set up the Cultural Entrepreneurship Institute in Berlin. Today I am in Stockholm and my guest is Petra Wadström. She founded the company Solvatten. Welcome to our community, Petra. Hello, Petra. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. Yes, I'm Petra, and I'm a person that I'm working with solving problems, and this is one of the biggest problem I'm working on is to have access to safe water. So Solvatten is a solution I've been working with a long time, and yes, this is part of why I think you are here to meet me. But otherwise I'm also an artist, and I've been working with research, scientific research a long time, and to combine that I think it's the most important to really find solutions, not looking just into problems to find solutions. But I'm a mother of four children. I have also my fifth grandchild was just born one month ago. So and I live in Stockholm, and I think the work we are doing together in this with Solvatten is fantastic. And I work with both my sons, both Oliver and David, working here, and another three girls. And we are working in the world with water, the solution Solvatten.
Yeah, thank you. But you are the Woman of the Year this year in 2015. How comes?
Yeah, I don't know really, but of course it's fantastic to be highlighted as someone who has done something for Sweden out in the world, that recognizes the work we are doing, and to have that award, it's great. And I just recently got it this Thursday, so it was a big event in south of Sweden with a lot of women from all around the world, Swedish women, business women and women working for Sweden, in Sweden or outside Sweden.
Oh, wonderful. But you also had a phone call from the White House a couple of years ago when President Obama came to Sweden. Can you tell us something about that?
Yes, it was fantastic. I got a call one morning. I was coming with my bike. I usually go with my bike to the office here in Stockholm, and then I came in doors, and then I heard the phone ringing, and then they said that it's a wish from someone coming next week to Sweden, and they want to meet you. And then it was from the White House, and President Obama wanted to meet some companies working with the environmental solutions. So we were selected among many companies, I believe, but Volvo and our university KTH and Solvatten were the three companies meeting President Obama. And it was fantastic to have 7 minutes with the world man as President Obama. And he was very much involved, or he had read about Solvatten and did put some good questions, and we talked about both environment but also about the situation for women in the world. And in the poor countries out in the world, it's very important to highlight the situation for how women live and struggle, especially water situation.
But let's stay just a little more in Sweden. What influenced you as a Swedish woman in your life?
Yes, it was many years I've been working with art, and before that I had some years in Switzerland working with early stage of DNA research, and then I saw the problem with not using solar energy. And we were then in Australia, so it was a year in Australia where we really saw the huge amount of solar energy coming into the earth every day, every second, but not much used. And I thought, well, how come? Can't we make something small, handy solution that really could be a big uptake for everyone? But combining with the situation people have for struggling with water, I had some idea and then started to do some practical tests and saw a difference. When you see a difference, then for me, I can't leave it. And I thought, no, I have to continue to investigate how this come. And then, yeah, this was 15 or 16 years ago, so it's a long time ago, but yeah, I think it's important to have a practical mind, but also to be curious enough to not let it be the idea. So continue to find out. Solution has been my passion in life. Mm.
And what inspired you particularly to this invention? What was the very much sun in Australia when you were there, or your interdisciplinary approach to life? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, to have an open mind and to be able to look at things from different angle. I think I took the chance to see if this idea, an idea is not just coming like one bulb of light. It's many things coming together, and I think it has to grow a bit. But of course, it was inspiring to be in Australia, to look at the solar energy that was there really. And also to be able, I was in Indonesia and I met some women struggling with unsafe water and sick children. So I think that combination was the most important.
Mm. So, but let's say now the idea is based on this phenomenon that you now explain to us about water and sun. What is now Solvatten? Sun, water. What is the idea?
Yeah, Solvatten means sol is sun, as you said, and vatten is water. So it's a combination of word, but it's also a combination of what it really is. It's with the help of the sun, you treat water, you make it safe and you make it warm. And with the help of the sun, you can really purify water at very contaminated water. So that is what Solvatten does, using the sun in a short while and to make it easy. It's easy to use and it's easy to handle. And that was one of the things I wanted to really look at. Can it be used from everyone can use it and not be dependent on any engineer coming to look after your equipment. I think that was one of the goals I had, to find this easy solution.
Mm. And how come that you had the idea of the canister that you can open up? Some suitcases look a bit like that.
Yeah, first the first prototypes I made was looking more like a book of water. Mm. So if you think if you have a book and you open it up to the sun, and when you open it up to the sun, there are some transparent surface allowing the sun and the UV from the sun coming into the water, working on the microorganism. So it was the way of using the solar energy, just open it up, not having to do anything more. So, but of course it's a lot of building, prototype, practical work, and now it looks a little bit different, but it has to be equipped like or done like the industry wanted, because you have to think about angles and how the machines are plastic machines. But from the beginning I wanted to make a book like a book, and to have some textile cover from different places in the world. I thought in all beautiful textiles that women are making, that could really be your product. But it's been a little bit hard to go through the evaluation or the development of Solvatten as you had in your first idea in my mind.
So can you explain us, think about, I don't know anything about this, so how does it work exactly? This canister?
if you think it's a 10 liters plastic tank, and that you fill through opening, you have one black opening and one white, and the black opening has a filter, and you pour dirty water into the unit. And when you have filled 5 liter plus 5 liter, you push a little indicator, because it's very hard to know when water is safe. How do you know? When you boil water, you look at the small bubbles. WHO used to recommend look at the bubbles, and you know your water is safe. But and you can perhaps, people used to say, it tastes chlorine, it must be safe. But I was thinking of how can we know? How do you know water is safe? So the indicator has been also quite a tricky part to develop. But this is also my invention to combine the tank, the boxes together with the indicator. And then when you have filled it, you have your dirty water. The sun, you put it in a good angle, so you have an angle to the sun where the sun is in the morning. You start there, and you can see it's a ring on the surface, so you can see the shadow coming directly underneath. So you have a 90 degrees angle. You get the most out of the energy from the sun. But the plastic must be also allow the short wavelength, the UVB, come through. But just UV is difficult. You need the heat of the water as well. So the microorganisms are, if you imagine it's like a cell, you have a membrane, and the membrane starts to get fragile when the water is hot. And when it's fragile, it opens up more to be exposed for the UV. So the cell core is then hurt by the UV radiation. So it's a combination, it's a synergetic effect of both filtering, the UV and the heat. And then you have your warm and safe water. And the warm water is quite, it's such a big value. It's a big value. You know, you have your indicator from a red unhappy face turning to a happy green face. You can leave it in the morning, you leave it exposing it for the sun, coming back, and you see it's treated, the green face is there. And then you can fill it again, you can put it in another place during the noon time of the day, and then another place in the afternoon. So it's movable. And I think to capture all the energy from the sun, it's good to be able to move instead of making something very big and very direct into one angle to the sun, and perhaps needing a more technical some support. I think this is a good size for families, for women, for children, to be able to treat their own water. And then when you have your warm and safe water, you can pour it into safe storage, some container, and you can continue to fill again.
But how did you know that the sun has this effect on the water?
Yeah, you can read everything. I mean, it's a lot of knowledge out there. And in Sweden, for example, we have in our water purifying plants, you have a last step, you have a UV exposures. The water run into before it's ready to use. It's exposed for some UV lamps, and so chlorine is not enough, and you have to do it in added value. So I was interested to read that, but UV is also natural. It's there, out there, even if you can have it more concentrated in artificial way. It's the sun has everything, and can you capture that? So yeah, a lot of reading, and I think to combine this as Solvatten has the technology, I think it has been very challenging, but also very important to find out. And then when I had the first prototypes, I thought I have to check how do I know this is something. So I went to, we have nearby where we live a purifying plant in Åkersberga, and I asked them, could you please add some bacteria and we could test it. And then I got a laboratory to test and to add 200,000 E. coli per milliliter, a very highly contaminated bacterial contamination. And then it was no bacteria after exposure with Solvatten. And then I thought, oh yes, I can't just leave this, I have to continue.
But this is a real genial idea, because I mean, in Australia, as you said, they have so much sun, or in Africa, or all over the world, and but then you need the Swedish perspective, because you are probably appreciating sun in a completely different way, since you're not so used to have so much sun.
No, but it's working here too. We use it many years now in our little summer holiday house, where we have no electricity. So we use it especially for the warm water, for washing up the dishes, or giving the grandchildren a bath, or having the hygiene. It's fantastic to see the use of what the sun can work also here. I mean, it's. But there are solutions out in the world, like PET bottles. You can fill PET bottles and you can put them on the roof, and you can let the sun shine. But the tricky part is that they do not get heated really, and they do not allow the UVB through, and they have no indicator, and you have to expose it for 2 days. With Solvatten you need perhaps 2 hours or a little bit more depending on where you are. But I think that had helped me too, with all the knowledge about how this is done. But with the Solvatten we have other solutions added that makes it trusty and quality. Reliable. Every time reliable. Every time you use it, you need to know that this water is safe.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
The awareness.
Really speechless. But if we stay on this, what you mentioned at the beginning, why it is so important that water is safe and warm. And in many parts of the world, as you said, you have to warm it to let it boil, and then you use wood, you use fuel that is not safe, maybe even indoor, and this makes life really unsafe, and of course also the environment. Have you been traveling very much and seeing these problems too, to improve your product?
Yes, we started to work. First, my research was in Nepal, and the problem with Nepal is also struggling for energy, struggling with sick children. The cholera is there. You have a burden, that's a heavy burden on women especially. So buying, if you buy charcoal, or if you buy gas, or if you buy firewood or have to collect firewood, it takes a lot of time. And we see with Solvatten, we're saving about 4, 5, or even more big trees. They are standing still instead of cutting them down every year. So if you use Solvatten is used, now we have seen Solvatten in the field 7 years. So you use, I mean, you have 40, 50 trees still standing. But we have been around, I mean, in Mali, in Haiti, in Kenya, in Uganda, in many countries where the situation is about the same. Some places are even worse. I mean, in northern Kenya, where we work in and outside the refugee camp in Kakuma, people are really struggling, and they are suffering from both the climate and the lack of trees. Because if you have no trees left, it's hard to grow food. It's hard. The animals, they used to have some goats or cows, and they have no shadow to come under a tree, or people can't sit under in the shadow. And the milk production is much less because I mean so it's really the situation is hard up there, and we've been there. I have been there both with my sons, and we see the indigenous people using Solvatten. It really gives them a help, and you can see it for both the hygiene impact too. So you can see the skin diseases and eye infections, because you can wash your face, you can wash your skin. They are reduced. The intestinal worms, I mean, that's from the earth. The parasites are spread through the dirt. And if you can improve your hygiene with access to a little bit of warm and safe water, it makes such a big difference. So we have seen a lot, and it's fantastic to come back to families, to people we met for now 7 years ago, the first families, and they are still using Solvatten. So then you see that is the acceptance and the adoption they have done with the technology is really giving me the best award. To see what life has made, how life has changed.
Amazing. Then does this mean that they are using the same tank, or how long does it last, a tank of yours?
Yeah, we have seen it in the field now 7 years. Of course, it depends on how you treat it, but probably it can last even longer, or double, perhaps 15 years. We have not seen the end of life yet, and I think that is one of my early thoughts. I wanted to do something with a very high quality for poor people, instead of thinking cheap products because people are poor, they can't pay. But if we could provide people with a high quality product that lasts for a long time, at least a childhood, we used to say, that's much more important than to find cheap solution that's building on our garbage. So I think the life cycle costs are so important to look at, that how much can a product produce, how long can you use it, and what do you do then when life is over for the product? How can you use it anyway? It can be used as storage for water if the indicator doesn't work any longer, but we can change that too. So we have not really seen that day yet.
How was your artistic education part of this invention? What was the artistical part?
Yeah, I think the artistical part is a way of thinking and to thinking a little bit different, and to be able to allow yourself to think from another angle and to try out and to perhaps peel off what I'm used to with my art. I used to kind of take away the unimportant parts.
Ah.
to make it simple and clean, kind of. And I think Solvatten represent that too. And what we hear from users in for example, slum in Kibera, we had a lot of comments about people think that I feel tough, I have something new, this machine, Solvatten machine, the good design, and the feeling that you have respect from people around because you have something good looking, and then you are good looking yourself. So I think those comments are also giving me or us more thoughts or food for thoughts, that it's good to think a little bit wider and to see people in the world that you are. Everyone has a wish to look at the ethical, the beauty of life, and to improve your situation. It's, if you have tools, you can somehow do some small steps, and I think we are all alike. I can so easy imagine myself as a mother in Uganda with 7 kids, and some of them are not healthy because they have some intestinal worms or diarrheal diseases. And what do you do then? You stay home with your children. If they are ill, you stay home and you take care of them, and you do the very best you can. But if you don't have the tools, really, it's hard. And that's, I think, to give women time, that's an evaluation of the development of the world. I mean, to lift out from the poverty. If you give women time, you can really see the improvement of life, her life. She can start to study, she can do perhaps some business and to open up, and the children are healthier. Perhaps you don't get so many children then if you have some healthy children, and I think it's very, very important steps with giving women time.
So then you should, now that you say all what is improving with Solvatten for women in the daily life, but how is the normal life in these areas? So we actually don't know that, but as you said, if you want to boil water, if you want to wash, you have to boil water. If you want to cook, you have to, and so on. I mean, you have seen this. Can you tell something about this?
Yes, and you see, I mean, just to boil water, to, if you have, for example, a little farm, if you have a cow, you want to milk the cow, you need to have boiled water. You have to wash the udder of the cow and your hands to keep the milk longer. This is a way of living. We have met many small farmers that you have then to have your firewood. You have to pick. Either you go and fetch or you buy. Mostly people buy now, or you buy charcoal. And the cost for charcoal we seen in Kakuma or in Kenya in the Kibera, where people are buying about 2 buckets charcoal for a family a day. A bucket cost about half a dollar, at least $50, and then if you buy for $1 a day for a family, and with Solvatten you have saved half of it. So 50% was a saving, and that was over 2,000 families. So we really have some data from different places. So that's a cost for charcoal, but also the time to go and collect the firewood if you go to the forest. And mostly the forests are further and further away from the village because you have already taken as up in Kakuma, you could see really a ring around the village, because you have to walk 4 hours to get the closest forest, and that's not allowed to take those trees, but you have to do it anyway, and you have to go back the whole way. That's the time consuming, and also threats, because a lot of situations where women are going by themselves to do this kind of work, there are violence against them. So rapes and a lot of situations that you really don't want to, you want to avoid. And I think energy is so important to allow people to have new solutions, because it's going to take ages, decennia, or I don't know, 100 years before the infrastructure is everywhere, before the electricity is everywhere. So I think more than 2.5 billion people living in the world without access to the electrical grid. And those people are using fuel wood as charcoal or firewood. And then how many trees are lost everywhere in and it's also then you look at the climate and the carbon emission that increases when you take away the trees, but you're also burning. So I think using new solutions like Solvatten and other good solutions, renewable energy, I think it's we have to do that today, not tomorrow. We have to do too.
Yeah, you're right. But can you reach also these dramatic situations, like I've read you were in Cobain, or all this dramatic situation, people escaping Syria or wars or migration? Are you able to reach also those areas with Solvatten?
Yeah, we have some places like in northern Iraq, but how to come from here. Solvatten is produced in south of Sweden, in Örkelljunga, and to come from Sweden we have to have someone who is receiving Solvatten and implementing, some partners, some organizations that we can easily work with. So for example, in Iraq we had some people here in Sweden collecting, some girls, they were collecting money from their own country, people from their own country living here, and then buying Solvatten and getting it to their villages where they had their relatives. So to come to those places, it's not so easy. And of course we would love to work closer to UN, to have to see that this is a technology that can solve so many problems that they could easily also distribute. But for us it's a problem more that it's investment. It costs nearly $100, and to get it out to the users, and to have to see that it's a sustainable solution, that is long time, not just for the first 3 weeks. People are continuing living in the harsh conditions, so if they have something for a longer time, it's really the most cheapest solution for water, Solvatten. But that's something we are struggling.
You're working on.
Yeah.
But so you set up your own company, Solvatten, and why did you do that?
Yeah, I really had to.
Yeah,
it was a passion,
yeah,
but I needed to see. I understood it is a solution, and how to make it reach those people who are the most vulnerable people, that are most in need. And how can I do that by myself? I couldn't. I just had to employ some people and to work with people and to find good partner organizations to show, first to understand, to test the product. But it's hard also to get investors in an early stage in a company. So to find right investors who also have a social entrepreneurial mind and not looking just into the economical part, also looking at the values we are creating. So that was a bit harder it's always hard to really find a balance to make people really appreciate those values that you can't really see in dollars or in kronor. But to put higher value on those values, I think we can reach much further. Also with other solutions.
This means you found, in order to start, really, you found an investor at the beginning.
Yes.
To start.
Yeah, and I found a woman who really did put a lot of both her money, but also her energy and advice to me how to be an entrepreneur, to run a company like Solvatten. I have some companies already with some other innovations, but not in this dignity as Solvatten. So she was really a very important person for me, and she died last year. So it's been very hard to. We miss her very much for the company and for me personally, to have this intelligent person who really understood the value of her impact. But
you also started a foundation, Solvatten. Why did you do that? Why do you need also a foundation?
Yeah, we started the foundation last year, and it's important to be able to donate or to get donations from companies, from private donors, and to then reach those people who are the most vulnerable people. So we have 2 projects we are focusing on with the foundation, and to have Solvatten company is giving for self without any margins to the foundation, the Solvatten product. We are producing, but we are also letting Solvatten Foundation have it without any margins, so we can distribute it in a larger scale. But Solvatten as a company, with the company we can reach. Other companies who want to do climate investment or different projects with different companies or governments. Haiti government bought Solvatten, for example, for some time ago, and Angola, so it's important for us to work with different focus areas. But the foundation is it's fantastic to see the impact and what the project has given. We have had a very fantastic support from H&M, the founder of H&M, who donated a lot of money to make us able to really enlarge this project in Kakuma. And some private donors, and so it's a good solution.
How does your work contribute to solving problems then? So if we take a normal working day of yours,
Normal working days, they are not so routine. It's a lot of it's a lot of interest from all over the world. So we are working really with from the user, from the families working with Solvatten, have connection and communication with them, and with partner organizations, and with interesting or people who have interest of doing something with Solvatten, or working with us, or companies who want to do something good out of their CSR or climate investment, like OCO Q8 as a gas station, or working with oil company, but they are also working with car washing. So they want people coming with their cars, washing their cars, instead of spoiling the nature and having dirt coming into the streets. Or so every time someone is coming to the washing the car this year, the part of it will go to Solvatten in Uganda. So there are campaigns and movements going on in Sweden, but not in Italy. And we have to really see how can we scale up and how can we work together over the borders.
Yeah. So how can we, or the community, how can a normal citizen support your work?
Yeah, with the help of the foundation, you can help. You can, if you want to help a little bit, or if you want to help a family for a longer time, you can choose. So, but we are very happy to get support and the involvement, and we see a lot of engagement from people from everywhere, that this is something very concrete and very measurable. So Solvatten really gives back what you know what you are giving for, and you can then see who got this, where is Solvatten today, and what has it done. And so it's the impact calculator we can give back to the donors.
Oh, we will work on that from now on, from the northern to the south of Europe. But you mentioned you have 4 children, and now you're even a grandma.
Yes.
too. But how do you manage to combine your professional and your family life? Can you give us any examples?
Yeah, I think of course it's difficult to find time now when the importance of Solvatten is so great, and the demand is so great. But to work with my sons here, it's also fantastic to be a mother working together. And as David has done this book from the refugee camp and where we're working in Kenya, and to be able to show his work and our work in pictures, I think that's also a way of communication, and to do that together.
So your children are working here with you?
Yes, both David and Oliver, the youngest son, he's also working with Solvatten economy and sales person working with companies. So I think to go out to our project, to visit, to meet, to know, to understand the reality, and to come back with more knowledge, and to spread the word. I think that's what we are doing together.
And this is also a genial solution. If you don't have time to be at home with the family comes at work and work with you. Yes. Wonderful. So you have told us so many fascinating things. And is Sweden a good environment for entrepreneurship, actually?
Yeah, it's coming, and we can see companies growing and with good ideas, and to see added value from the impact you are doing. So I think but Sweden is a small country, But I think importance and also to have the network together, that we can share our experiences between different social entrepreneurs here in Sweden. It's important.
Mm. Do you have a special project in the next time that is really tempting you?
Yeah, the project, I think it's also to show to communicate with pictures what we are doing, to get more people involved. So we plan for an exhibition now here in Sweden from our projects out in the world. But Solvatten is a huge project, so it really has no limitations. And of course it's always interesting. You see a lot of solutions needed out there, so I have to put a little bit like that. I can't really take the time today, but I hope in a couple of years I can have more time for both development, research, but also writing and explaining my own experience and inspiring others to dare and to don't give up and to be curious, and how important it is with ideas. How many people who today are involved in Solvatten, and somehow all those rings in the water, it's thousands and thousands of people know today and have some living out of Solvatten, and I think that's fantastic with ideas. So more ideas, more ideas, please.
But so in the end, what does really matter in life?
Yeah, love matters, and health, and I think that's most important, to kind of see the values of where you are and where your surrounding, but also not just look at the closest yourself or your small family, but look at in the bigger picture. So for me, I think that matters, to make a change, to make a difference.
Mm. Oh, thank you so much for your time, Petra. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
For many of us, it ain't that easy. Millions of hours wasted fetching water, fetching fuel, keeping us away from school, making us sick if it doesn't boil, keeping us poor, locking us down and stopping us to be. But there is a way to make us free, by using what's free for everyone. Oh, bring on the sun and let it shine.